So, welcome to the Solution podcast. We are in Morelia, in Mexico, and I'm here with Gail Walker. And we are going to talk about the Solution project. And my name is Flo May. And thank you for watching. I hope you will enjoy this. What the Solution project is about, if you have any type of problem, it's only so useful to analyze the problem and figure out what's going on. And at some point, it's very helpful if you have like a dot on the horizon or a clear image of what the solution would look like. And so when I read the book Far Journeys by Robert Monroe, and he described in that book, chapter 12, everything about how we are actually created with the purpose of being farmed. And we are creating loosh, which is a type of bioluminescence, I believe. And it's causing all these horrible problems that we're facing today. But what I found is that many people are actually talking about Loosh and the Loosh chapter, and it seems like nobody's talking about the other chapter, chapter 15, where Robert Monroe describes a solution and the way that would look. And it's not just any old design. I know that several or beings have been working on it for several lifetimes, so it's a pretty thought out solution to what we are facing today. And some of the properties are that souls are completely free to incarnate and exit at any time. And the other thing is that it's possible to experience all the richness of our earth and to actually incarnate in all kinds of life forms, including clouds, panthers, birds, leaves, plants, and they all give incredibly enriching experiences. And the most amazing part is that the loosh is still being created. So it's a win-win situation. And also, one important property is the absence of the reincarnation addiction that many people are suffering. You know, you get to be a human once and then you keep coming back to do it right. That's no longer there in that solution. And also this constant inner chatter that we are, most of us are dealing with, like constantly reflecting and actually feeding the mind control. So all of that is not present. So I thought I want to be part of the team who realizes that, and I just start talking about this option as a possibility where we can go together as a humanity. So, by way of just focusing on that solution, because I think it's a pretty good design. So, Gail, that was pretty much my introduction of the Solution project. Um, yeah, maybe you like to tell a little bit about yourself and what is your main area of where you're focused in these days, and do you see any resonance with this project? For example, it could be like you're working on lowering your inner dialogue, or you're, learning about things that are related to this.
Sure. Yeah, I'm really happy to share. Um, yeah, I love to talk about my passions as many people do, but I really I'll just mention we met at this conference, the People's Reset, which is really bringing people around solutions. And I've spent so much of my life watching people complain when I believe we all have the power to improve our lives and improve the world when we focus on those solutions. So I love your approach and your ideas. And yeah, for myself, aside from community building and focusing on permaculture and all of the practical things of living more in harmony with the earth, which I think is part of what we're meant to be and do here as part of the planet. I think our power is also in this energetic level, and I do believe that the programming that goes on in society from birth to keep us in shame, to keep us in powerlessness and frustration and all the negative low frequency vibrations just hold us back so much, but we don't have to stay there. And we're not given the tools unless we find them, which, I've come across a number, and a lot of people are sharing a lot of wonderful approaches to expand what we think of ourselves and how we can access that power. So, um,
So, could you mention some of those tools that you have come into? Is that English?
sure. Yeah, so I just I think meditation is an amazing tool. It's certainly beneficial for what you suggested about the narrative in our head, and I actually had something shared with me more recently to help people realize that who they are is much more than that voice in their head, to actually take that moment to pay attention and listen and watch, because most of us don't do that. We're just a slave to this voice, and we think that voice is the reality and this is the truth when it's actually not. And when you take the time to observe it, you can find out that it's not actually us. It's something inside of us, and it knows everything about us and our past, and it's part of everything, but that our actual existence is something beyond that. And so it's really a gift to be able to have access to that kind of expanded awareness of, okay, maybe I have power over that voice. Maybe I don't have to just do what that voice is concerned about. And so um, there's many different ways to do meditation, many practices that involve different approaches. But the most beneficial, uh, soon, like almost instant benefits that you can get is by just that observation, that power of observation. And then when we can be aware of that as not being us, and then you can start changing it. And we actually, I remember when I was young, I was actually, I had issues with depression. I found the world not a comfortable place to be. I really felt out of place. I was very comfortable in nature, but society just didn't make sense. And I remember there was the song "Don't Worry, Be Happy" or whatever. I'm like, how can I be happy? You can't just be happy. And here I am, decades on, and I'm like, well, no, I actually do have a choice of how to react to what's happening around me and my own thoughts. And it doesn't mean you can automatically be happy, but you can also decide not to stay with a negative emotion that you're experiencing. And I think that's what we're being taught in this modern day. You don't need deep psychological analysis to pay attention to what thoughts make you happy or sad, and the impacts of those thoughts is perpetual. And I think when people start paying attention, they'll discover that.
Yeah, great. So I was just wondering if you would explain to somebody how you did it with meditation, like because there is some how to it, right? So how did you get started with meditation, and what did you run into? What were some difficulties that you overcame? And for example, what are the details? So like getting into the nitty gritty of meditation, so that other people can use your experience to improve on it and to quiet their inner dialogue. Would you like to talk about that?
I actually, I don't feel qualified to actually talk about that. I can share my experience, but I think there's people who can really describe that a lot better than I can.
Okay.
Because it's not, I had different modalities. I've tried different modalities at different times, and I think really there's so much available now that you can actually pick any meditation video and see, if it feels good. And if you don't like it, then find something else.
Okay.
There's many teachers online, and yeah, so I don't really feel qualified to describe that too much
Okay.
detail.
And how do you feel about talking about how it's going now? So, do you do it every day or do you do it irregularly? And how do you feel? And sometimes, a little bit description. Do you feel comfortable describing that right now?
Sure. Yeah. I've gone through different phases of doing it daily. And length of time has varied. I actually participated in a Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat. I was gifted with a scholarship, which was amazing because I'd followed his work for a very long time, and I really um, find his approach to consciousness and who we are as human beings on this planet really resonated with me. And so I actually started doing it much more regularly leading up to that retreat and then following it. And that um, involved more than an hour a day, which was kind of hard to devote to. And I don't think it's necessary to do that in general. But um, if you really want to have changes in your physical body, you need to devote uh, extended time to it. I feel, but the most important to me, I think, is that every day we take however many minutes we can, and there's a value in that. One of the things I've learned that actually helped me with my sleep, I used to take up to an hour to fall asleep, and when I was a young mother, up at night with babies and working part time and trying to manage the household, I couldn't even stop for a rest. Like when I'd lie down, I couldn't relax enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
Yeah.
really pushing my body too much at that time. And I learned about the vagus nerve and how that's a way we can have relaxation. It, it can actually be part of us having a lot of dysregulation for various reasons. Childhood trauma is implicated. Um, and then various health issues can go along with that. So I decided um, to actually do specific vagus nerve breathing, and I devoted 30 days to do that every day, a pattern. And after that, I kept doing it on a sort of semi-regular basis. Also, at times of stress, I would just automatically do that longer exhale, which is setting that system into the relax, which is the rest and digest, which is how our body heals, and how, unfortunately, in this society, we're usually not there. There's usually all kinds of things keeping us activated and concerned. So I found this practice so beneficial. It was something I just did online for free, just took a little bit of my time, and what a gift. I'm not saying I sleep, fantastically, but I can actually rest and fall asleep in the afternoon when I'm overtired. And I often can fall asleep in 10 minutes, which would never happen. I had that monkey mind, I'm always thinking a lot, and I pride myself in my brain, but I could not tell it to shut off. Like I was a
Exactly.
victim to
Yeah.
it. So the
Yeah.
combination of having done some meditation and the combination of the breathing giving me permission. Basically, I was training my body. We need to train our bodies because from when we're young, you're trained in kind of the more detrimental aspect of production and always focusing on what's outside. And so yeah, I recommend that for anyone who needs to have a little more relaxation. You don't even need to meditate, but to close your eyes and to breathe for even 10 minutes, it's really helpful.
Wow, that's really excellent because I had not heard of this nervous vagus type of um, yeah, calming your mind. So I'm going to look into it. Yeah, is there any other area that you would say you relate? Can you relate to the solution project, like permaculture is a way to get more connected to nature? Do you feel like talking about it, or you want to finish the interview?
I can talk about
Yeah,
that a little bit.
great. Because in the um, description of Bob Monroe, he describes the way that people are so connected to nature and energy that they can, take some dirt and just transform it in their hands into something they want. So that's a bit of a leap for most people. But I feel that, you can have this image on the horizon, like a dot on the horizon, and in the meantime do your gardening magic, which is like putting a seed in the ground and connecting with that process. I would feel that would be like an intermediate step to accomplishing higher level of connectedness. So whatever your wisdom is on that, want to
Yeah,
share something about it?
yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. So, just to be clear, I haven't
Hello.
previously been familiar with those ideas from him. Um, but I was exposed to the idea of actually kind of instant manifestation and involving a heap of manure actually for the garden that someone manifested.
Oh.
And so that was really neat. And Rudolf Steiner's work actually fits in with this as well. And I've not been a deep student, but I've read books and I've been practicing in my gardening a lot of biodynamic planting and awareness of the cycles of the plants and connecting in that way. And so, yeah, it's interesting, and it actually fits in strangely enough with Joe Dispenza, who talks about us going into the quantum and coming out into the world that we want to be in, the timeline that we want, the body that we're connecting with. And so um, that supports the same idea that we have this creative power and we just have to align ourselves with those ideas and believe it, because we've been programmed from birth that, the world is this, the world is dangerous, and this is how we make things, and this is what we do. And imaginary, you know the spirits or whatever, little children who are seeing fairies and stuff, they don't exist. That's their imagination. So um, yeah, I think to me, like, the connection to nature has always been there for me from when I was young. And so permaculture, um, the approach of really working in harmony with nature and those natural systems, um, it's just, it's so nourishing to the soul. And I actually feel that connected to this earth, in that my soul came here to help take care of the earth. When I was younger, I kind of thought it was, save the world, but I realized, no, no, it's like take care of the planet, support the earth and the transition, whatever is going on. And I really feel that is what's happening, and I've been able to do that, and I continue to do that. And I want to just encourage everybody to follow their passions, assume that they can make a living doing something they love. There is no reason we shouldn't be able to do that. And nature is abundant, and when we start being open to that and working in harmony with nature and supporting each other in those ways, this world will actually be the beautiful world our hearts know is possible, as Charles Eisenstein said.
Wow, that's a great way to end this interview, I think. Gail, thank you so much for sharing your insights and wisdom on these topics. And well, I hope you keep following this channel. And is there a way that you would like people to get in touch with you?
If someone wants to
You have
email
your
me,
website,
I
yeah?
don't have a public website right now, but my email is really easy to remember. It's trainbrain. That's the neuroscience side. Trainbrain at proton.me.
Great, excellent. And if you want to get connected to the Solution project some more, we've just started a school community, and also we just started a website called solution.com with the word loosh in it. So it is SoolooshIon. So thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.